Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm just going to quickly follow up on my Instagram post last night. I showed you that I had purchased one of these Truecoat 360 units for parts, supposedly, on eBay. I won it at auction. Don't mind the mess here. I'm still in the process of trying to reorganize my garage. Yeah, I bought it for 20 bucks. That included shipping. It came to my house, and it was complete, so obviously I wanted to see if I got lucky and there was nothing wrong with it. That was not the case. That was absolutely not the case. I filled it up with water and I primed the pump, which is right here. I'm going to pull the pump assembly out right now. This is it. This is the whole pump assembly right here. And water was leaking everywhere. So naturally, I was bummed out and I was like, all right, I got to pull this thing apart and I got to take a closer look at it because there's got to be a reasonable explanation for this. So give me a minute and I will come back in a second and try and explain as best as I can what was going on. All right, so essentially, the first thing I noticed when I popped off the case here was all the rust on the, I don't know what you want to refer to this as. I don't know, refer to it as a drivetrain, I guess. So you can see right from the electric motor, this gear turns this this assembly right here, which goes on a ball as this gear spins and moves the pump, the piston and the pump back and forth. Right. So you also notice now, because I kind of prepped it to show you what was going on, that this seal is not where it's supposed to be. So this is exactly what it looked like, except it was just down a little bit closer. When I first got it and water was dripping everywhere, out of the top, the bottom, wherever. So the first thing that I did, because I was kind of familiar with these since I owned one prior to purchasing this for the few pieces that I need, was reseat this. Once I reseat this, I was able to test it, and I will show you a little bit more in a second. Okay, so basically, after reseating this O-ring, seal, or gasket, or whatever you want to refer to it as, I can't really do it with one hand while I'm filming here, but basically once this is set and this is flush with the rest of the pump housing, and I was able to, lube it up a little bit so that it actually slid back in without getting damaged. I reconnected everything. Despite this being rusted, I reconnected everything and I filled it back up with water, and I tested it and it sprayed. So that was it. It was a stupid little seal right here that was probably either came loose in shipping or was never fully seated from the factory, and someone probably purchased this unit new, water or paint or whatever they used, squirt all over the place, came out of the top, the back, the sides, the bottom, whatever. They probably rinsed it off and returned it, and that's how I ended up getting it from an eBay seller. So not bad. So as much as I'd like to do a little bit more of an in-depth video on this, which I may or may not do on my YouTube channel at some point in the near future, for now I just wanted to show you guys it is not hard to access and to work on these. They're essentially they're really straightforward. So you pop out a couple of them. You pop all these screws out. I can't tell you off the top of my head what bit that was, but regardless, you pop all those out. Stick back on my magnet there. Pop them all out. You got a couple spots on the other side here. Get the case off, and what you're looking at is you got your pump housing, pump assembly right here, spray tip. Just connects to this right here, which spins around off this main gear that comes direct drive right off the electric motor. And this is it. Here's your trigger. Here's your finger right here. Trigger right here. Switch. That's it. This controls this. This spins, and it drives this piston in and out. And if it isn't sealed, it isn't going to work. Same thing, if you have one of these and you accidentally leave paint or primer being the worst of that, those options in there, you can kind of break this down to some degree. I'm not going to be able to do it for you right now, but this does, from what I remember, break down to some extent so that you can get in here with a paper clip. You can kind of clean everything out. I've left primer in the dead of winter in my main unit and been able to pull everything apart, pop this out, clean down in there with the safety pin. There, I think this whole thing splits in half. Clean it with hot water and soap. Nothing that's too crazy. Didn't want to damage any of the neoprene or rubber or whatever this is. But you can service them. You don't have to spend money on replacement parts. So if you like using these, they're really, really easy to work on in my opinion. So I hope this helps you guys. That's it for now. I'm going to probably do a more in-depth video on my YouTube page, so if I do, I'll post a link and I'll see you then. That's it. That's about as much info as I could give you right now via 1-minute intervals on my Instagram page. I hope it was helpful. If it wasn't, and you got more questions, feel free to send me a direct message. Feel free to send a question in a comment. It doesn't matter. I may or may not do a YouTube post on this as well. But for now, that's that. So I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.